This is assignment 9-3 in GIS workbook 1. In this assignment, what we're going to do is we're going to be using house income, block groups, and car beats to figure out what areas around this 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 police district are low income, with the belief that low income neighborhoods have an increased amount of crime. Police can use this to know how to allot police activity. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add the 3 shapefiles and 2 tables that the book wants you to add. I've already gone ahead and done that. And once we do that, what we're going to do is we're going to start joining shapefiles with other shapefiles, shapefiles with tables. So we're going to be creating quite a few new shapefiles. So it's important that you keep track of names, because if you don't, it'll be easily confused, and you can accidentally combine 2 things you didn't want to. The book can be kind of confusing in this assignment, and that's why I'm going ahead and having a walkthrough with it. So we're going to be joining lake block centroids with lake car beats. And what that's going to do is it's going to, it'll just be easier to show you once we create it than to explain it and then show you. When you open up a join option, it's generally set to join attributes from a table. We're going to change that because we want it based on spatial location. And then make sure the correct shapefile is chosen, which is lake car beats. And the most important thing in this assignment is the naming of the shapefile, so you don't confuse it later on. The book wants you to use spatial join underscore car beats and block centroids. That's quite a mouthful. So I'm going to call it SJ for spatial join. Car beat centroid or cent. So that way I can determine what it is later on. Then I'm going to click OK. And we're going to open up, this is the original centroids, this is our new joined. And as you can see, it combined the attribute tables of both features. This is important because now we can figure out how many households are within each car beat. And we're going to do that by right-clicking beat and going to summarize. We're going to go down through here to the fields until we find households, which is right here. And we're going to have the sum. And once again, it's important to give it an appropriate name, which is going to be households car beat. Then we're just going to click OK. And we want it to add to our map. We can exit out of this, and we're going to open up that new shapefile or table that we just created. And as you can see, there are some houses outside of a car beat, but as you can see down here, we have multiple more that are within a car beat. 261 having the most, and 231 having the least. Now with that, we're going to move on, and we're going to join a table to a shapefile, and we're going to be joining lake block groups with this aggregate income table. So we're just going to go to our joins and relates. Now the book tells us what 2 fields to join by. If you had opened up the attribute tables, you may have noticed that these 2 fields that we're using have the same numbers in them. It's this BKGPID FP2000, and we want to make sure that aggregate income is our table chosen, and we're going to be joining by block group ID. So then we're going to hit OK. And if we open it now in the attribute table, you'll see that these last three tables come from the table that we just joined. And then the book tells us to go back and in assignment or in tutorial 9-3 and use the steps from there. This is where it can get kind of confusing. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click on block groups and we're going to join another table to it. And the option's already chosen. We're going to use block group ID. We want some households and we want block group ID. Once that's done, what we're going to do is click OK. And if we open it now, we can see that we have some houses, we have our income data. Then they want us to add a field to this. However, I'm going to go ahead and show you how this can get tricky. If I were to just add a field called weight with a float type, you'll see as soon as I add it, it confuses the join. So all the values become null. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click and we're going to delete that field. Click yes. As you can see, the numbers come back. So in order to get around this, what we're going to do is we're going to right click, go down data, we're going to export it. And I'm going to call this just block group, so it's not confusing. And we want it to add to our table. I'm going to turn off the original one just because we're not really going to be using it. Now we can open up our attribute table, go all the way to the side, and add our field. It's going to be called weight and float. Float and double are values that we can use decimal places with, which we're going to need in this case. The difference between a float and a double is the amount of space that information takes. You'd use float for smaller numbers and double for larger numbers. So this is just to save space when saving. And we're also going to add another field called arg in. And we're going to change that to a float. Now our weight is going to be calculated using the field calculator. And the expression we're going to use is households divided by the sum households. And then we're just going to click OK. And now that we have the weight, we can actually calculate our aggregate income, because we want the number of houses to be considered. Because if we have large income but few houses, that would be like a rich neighborhood. So it takes into effect the population density based on houses available. If an area has a whole lot of houses and a lot of income, it'll kind of neutralize that that bias. So we're going to use field calculator. We're going to clear the old expression. And what we're going to use is our weight times the arg income up here, the one that came from the file, or the table earlier. And we're going to click OK. Okay, now with this done, what we're going to do is we're going to X out of here, and we're going to do another join. This is going to be a spatial join. We're going to right click on our SJ carbeats centroid, joins and relates, choose our spatial location, and we want block group to be our focus, the one that we created, not the original lake block groups. You have to be sure of that, because that's not going to have the information that we're interested in. And I'm just going to call this block car sense, because it's kind of a lot. So you're going to click OK with that. And now this newly created, I'm going to turn off the old carbeat. As the spatial join carbeat, I'm going to turn that off. And along with the lake block group centroids, we can remove that. Now if we open up the one that we just created, the block car centroid, and open the attribute table, it's going to very much have all the attribute tables of the carbeats, of the block groups, of the centroids, and also the fields that we've newly created, the weight and the weighed aggregated income. Now what they want us to do is they want us to create a table from this. And how we're going to do that is we're going to right click on beats, our beat right here, and we're going to summarize. And you're going to want to go all the way down to where our created arg inc is located. And we're going to open that, and we want the sum. So we're going to come over here now, and we're going to give it a good name. We're going to call it arg inc, just to be simple. And we're going to add it to our table, or to our map. Now I'm going to clean some stuff up by just getting rid of it so it's not confusing over here. The block car centroid, we're done with that. We can remove this. Our spatial join car beat centroid, we can remove that as well. And we can get rid of our block group, the one that we created, the block group down here. Now what we see here is we have our car beats. What we're going to do now is we're going to join these two tables, these household car beat and arg inc tables, to our lake car beats. So we're going to open up the attribute table, and we're going to see how we're going to want to join these tables. So I'm going to open up all three, and as you can see, it has a beat field in each one. So now we're going to go to car beat, lake car beats, go to join. We're joining from a table. Beat is our interest, and we want to choose, I'm going to choose household car beats first. This isn't necessary, it's first on the list. We're going to click yes for this warning that popped up. We're going to go back, we're going to do another join, and this time it's going to be the ARG income, the one that we created from summarize. Click yes again. Now if we open up this attribute table, you'll see that both have been added. I'm going to get rid of some of these fields just so it's not as hectic. Right click on this one, we can turn that field off. Shape area, we can turn that field off. X and Y we can turn off. Object ID we can turn off. This is just so we don't have as much clutter. We can turn off shape. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create another field. But remember, we have joins, and if we were to add a field, it would confuse the join. So we're going to once again export this Lake Car Beats as a new shapefile. We're just going to export it. I'm just going to simply call it Car Beats. Then click OK. And we want it added. We're going to turn off the original one. And we're going to open up the attribute table of our original. In here we can go through and get rid of some of the shape font, the ones we don't need, just so it's once again not cluttered. There. And we're going to add that field. And this is going to be called household income. And it's going to be a float as well. We're going to right click and we're going to use our field calculator. And what we're going to use is we're going to use our sum agginc, and we're going to divide that by the sum households. So this is going to tell us on average what each house in a certain beat makes. So we're going to click OK. As you can see, some make more than others. It's over half as much money, about twice as much money is made in beat 261 per household than 241. So now with that done, what they want us to do is they want us to show this through a color ramp map. So we're just going to right click and go into our properties. Go to symbology, quantities, graduated colors. We want household ink. And I'm going to choose a green to a red. They want 5 classes. You can go in and clean up the numbers if you want. Then we're going to click OK. And there you go. Actually, they actually tell us what kind of classification they want. They want quantile. which is this one right here. So we're going to click OK again, and as you can see, it really didn't change our map at all. So now we know which areas make more money and which areas do not. As you can see, this is the lower income area, and as you move north, you increase in wealth. There's other factors like size of the area and everything. So that's it for this assignment. I'm not going to go through and how to make this look nice. That's up to you.